Hey Rosebuds, welcome to the Rose Garden, where we will be discussing important social issues and trending topics. I'm your host, Nyeri Rose. Welcome in, Rosebuds. It's your host, Nyeri Rose, and today's episode is going to be conversations about vitiligo. Now, I want to put out a disclaimer / trigger warning that some of the things that I might mention or say might be shocking or hard to hear. Now, understanding that this is my platform, I just want everyone who's listening to be open-minded and aware of my experiences. Some of them have been traumatic, but I am an open book, and because this is a safe space for me, I am so willing to talk about my journey and experience with vitiligo, how long I've had it, when it came about, and just various things that have to do with beauty and just issues around beauty. So with that, let's get right into it. So basically, for those of you who don't know, vitiligo is a skin condition or autoimmune disease. It basically attacks the pigment of your skin, which causes white patches. So if you're melanated, then these white patches are going to show up like a sore thumb. You're going to see it right away. And especially when your skin is darker, that can be very traumatic because everyone's going to notice, everyone's going to look at you and just say, oh my gosh, what's going on? Now, more recently, vitiligo is starting to become more acceptable. You have the gorgeous model, her name's Winnie Harlow, and she embraces her vitiligo, and she looks stunning. The only other celebrity I could think who had this disease or skin condition is Michael Jackson. And Michael Jackson completely bleached his skin, and that's what we're not gonna do. So, but I understand. I get it. He's a celebrity. He's in the public eye. And I believe his hands, it started showing up on his hands. And so because it started showing up on his hands, he just made a decision. If I have to be on camera, I am not going to show myself like this. So he did what he had to do, respectfully. So for me, this has been an ongoing thing since I was about 9 years old. I would say the first patch or the first time I noticed or my mom noticed that something was wrong was about 8 or 9 years old. And it was hard. It was very difficult trying to figure out what's going on while also being in elementary, going to middle school, being surrounded by kids. And if you have kids or work at a school or just know anything about kids, they call things out and they're very honest, brutally honest sometimes. And so for me, it was kind of just like, how can I conceal this issue? So basically, as I've become an adult and I am experiencing active vitiligo, which means that my spots or patches are progressing, I'm just trying to figure out a holistic approach about treating it while also just being comfortable in the skin that I am in. With that, I would say my first patch started when I was 9 years old, and it happened right after the death of my grandmother. Now, if anyone who knows me knows, if I talk about my grandmother, I mostly talk about my grandmother. She was my great grandmother, and she was my best friend. We were very close, and I feel like a lot of the lessons that I've learned and the woman that I've become has to do with her. But my first love is my mother's mom, my grandmother Mary. And she was a beacon of light for me. She was amazing. She was adventurous. She was a Virgo, like just always, let's go shopping. Let's do these things. she loved life. And as a young person, you are not aware of all of the bad things in life. You know, as a kid, you're playing, you're having family functions, you're hanging out with your cousins. If you have siblings, you're with your siblings, and you're just focused on toys and going to school and eating very minuscule things. But we aren't always aware of disease, things like cancer, and for me, especially death. So when my grandmother died, I think that was the most traumatic, shocking experience I've ever been through. Like having been around someone each and every single day, and then coming to terms with the fact that they will no longer exist in your life. I don't know. I think I couldn't process that. And so after her death, and she lived a beautiful life. She was diagnosed with cancer. I believe it was ovarian cancer. They told her, you have 6 months to live. And she said, well, how about I live for 14 years? So she made sure she ate healthy. She lived her life and did things holistically to where, you know, she would try to limit her time at the hospital only if it was necessary. But at some point, I think as the disease of cancer progressed, she just said, okay, I did what I came here to do, and I think I'm tired and I'm done. So when she passed, I'll never forget, I was at school and they were calling me up to the office. They called me up to the school's office, the principal's office. And kids, ooh, you in trouble. I seen your mama in the office. You're gonna get it. Oh my gosh. I already talked about being bullied. So I was just like tense. I was like, oh no, what did I do? I didn't do anything. How am I in trouble? Why is my mom here? And I walked into that office, and it's kind of like a movie. Like somebody was walking out of the principal's office. So I saw the door, like it was open and it was slowly shutting. But I just seen my mom like boo-hoo crying over the principal. Like she was just in tears, and my principal was holding her. And I never seen my mom cry like that. And I was just like, okay, what's going on? So they called me in to the office, to the principal's office, and my mom couldn't speak. Like she couldn't say anything. And I'm just like, okay, like what is going on? What did I do? I'm freaking out. I'm thinking like I'm about to get a whooping. Like, why is my mom crying like this? That's the Aries in me, I guess. Selfish thinking. And so the principal, she says, hey, Ari, I just want to let you know that your grandmother just passed away. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. What does that mean? And they're like, yeah, you know, she died. And my mom was like, she's never going to be here again. And I kind of just felt like clammy, like my skin, everything just didn't feel right. I just felt like my fingers started sweating, and I couldn't cry immediately, but that just she's never going to be here again. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because we were taking care of her. We were checking on her every single day. We would spend the night at her house, you know, and at the time, I didn't know what this was, but she was on hospice. And so it's kind of just like, for me, I feel like it's kind of just like, you know, you're in your final days and you get to see them out in your home. You'll have a nurse come take care of you. So she dies. We go to the hospital to see her. And my family is from the South. So most of my family is from Louisiana. And all of my life, I've attended funerals. Even before my grandmother passed, I had went to 2 funerals prior to her passing, but I always saw them as like the family reunion. Like I said, they were functions. And so the person who was laying in the casket, As a young person, as a 6, 7 year old, I'm just thinking they're sleeping. I don't know what's going on, but I get to be with all my family and we eating real good food. I don't know. It's always been when somebody passes away, you either are eating the soul food. In Louisiana, they're cooking the soul food. In California, they're bringing you KFC. So basically, I had seen 2 previous funerals, and it didn't resonate with me that these people were like, not coming back, and they were significantly older. If you hear the fire truck or ambulance, I apologize. But these people were significantly older, so it wasn't as though I was impacted. This is my grandmother. This is somebody who's taking care of me. My uncle, I'm an only child. My uncle, he has multiple children. So those are like my brothers and sisters. So we would always be at her house playing. And she was the staple. She was the glue. And so for her to just not be here anymore, I took that hard. I took that very hard. My mother took it even harder. And I would say about a few months after that, that's when I noticed my first spot. And it was little, like it was so little, and it was on my chin. And it's always just been on my chin area. And even that, I could not embrace that. I couldn't embrace, a cute little patch on my chin, because I knew that for me, it felt abnormal. I felt weird. I felt like this is strange. Not even realizing how stress plays a significant role in our lives and in our health and in our minds, body, everything. And so being a young person, my mom, she's freaking out. She's taking me to the dermatologist, trying to figure out what's going on. And at that time, they were just like, she has vitiligo. Now, what I will say because I'm still doing research, and the purpose of this podcast or this particular episode is I did another reel about not wearing masks, and I feel like it was well received. I had a lot of positive comments about just how, I'm still beautiful with my vitiligo. I had a couple of negative comments or just interesting ones, but that's not the focus. I just felt like I'm tired of hiding who I am, and I've been doing it for so long. And now that it's harder or more challenging to hide my vitiligo, this is who I am, and this is what it is and who I'm going to be. Makeup, no makeup, here you go. I have to start loving me. And so the one thing I'll say about my vitiligo, even though they called it that back then, I feel like when I did my research, and when I still do research, people with vitiligo, they'll have it on their hands, their feet, their legs. If you look at Winnie, like she has it on her face, but it's also on her entire body. And where I struggle is with the fact that my vitiligo does not show up anywhere but my face. It's nowhere else. It's not on my feet. I don't have discoloration on my legs, my arms, my hands. Nothing else. It's just on my face. And so when I was younger, that little spot, it bothered me. But my mom, she was just like, okay, we did some topical stuff and it will go away, but then it would come back a little bit bigger. And that's why I'm resistant to go to a dermatologist or try anything, because those medications are temporary. And not only am I on a spiritual journey, I'm also on a weight loss journey, which I'll get into in another episode. But I am trying my best to have a holistic approach and be more aware of like herbs and natural resources to treat illness and diseases, because I think that there's so much power in the plants and in nature and in the things that we already have on this earth. And we need to treat our earth a little bit better. But while we're here and while we have what we have, I'm going to try to figure out how to use those things and put them in my body so that I can, like Dr. CB, naturally cure some stuff. And so he has some great ideas for how to treat such illnesses and diseases. But honestly, through everything that I've seen and in my research, it really all starts in the mind. And when I think about my mind, because I've had such a traumatic life, a beautiful life as well, and I'm very blessed to be here, but I've experienced so many things that I just feel like I could see why my mind would do this, because I also feel like it's self. You know, they say, I used to always hear, you are what you eat. And that is true. As someone who almost weighed 300 pounds, eating trash food, overeating, comfort eating, and seeing my body just grow and grow and grow, and not taking accountability for the damage I was doing to self. If you are what you eat, you also are what you think. And if your thoughts are not positive, loving, if you do not exude confidence within, that will show. And I feel like my insecurities are pretty much telling on me at this point. My fears, they're telling on me at this point. My stress and my anxiety, it's all telling me on this at this point. And I feel like it's fixable. That's why I have no problem saying, okay, this is who I am, guys. This is what's going on with me, because I know that it's fixable. I just have to figure out how to unlock those things. I have to figure out how to unpack some of the things that I've been through, so that even if my face never changes, even if it's half my face, my whole face, whatever happens, at least I will have mastered the art of loving thyself. And that is the goal, okay? If I had a button to round of applause, I would press it. Because the goal is to love thyself. Sometimes it's easier said than done. And if you're a person who exudes confidence and you know who you are, that is amazing. I am so proud of you. But everyone is not at that level. And as a young person trying to understand worldly things like death, having your grandmother pass away, that wasn't easy. And then having your physical body change in front of your eyes, that was even more challenging. And one of the things that I used to do, especially in middle school, because like I said, I was bullied, and people, they would make fun of, if you've seen me, I have a mole on my nose, and now I think it's the cutest thing, but people used to make fun of my mole, and I'd be like, well, I want to cut it off. Like, if you've seen Austin Powers, I don't know which movie, I want to say Goldmember maybe, but there's a scene where somebody, or maybe him, he's like, moly, moly, moly. And people used to tease me. Kids used to tease me and do that. So because that had already happened, I'm like, no, I'm not about to go to middle school and be bullied and made fun of because of these white patches on my face. So what I would do, I would take, because my family, they sew, especially my grandmother, she made a lot of quilts and things like that. So you have to have different tools, needles, threads, all these things, sewing machine. They would have a whole kit. And when she passed away, my mom inherited all this stuff. And so one day, I don't know what was wrong with me. I went through the stuff and I found a razor blade. Honestly, I found a razor blade, and I would go in the bathroom and I would basically slice my chin area. I would slice my face. I would slice my face to literally cut off. Not like I'm not slicing my skin. I'm just putting slashes in my chin because I was crazy, but I wasn't that crazy to where I'm cutting my skin off. I just would slash it, thinking that maybe if I damaged the skin, it would come back brown. This is my train of thought at 13 years old. If I hurt me, maybe that will help fix the damage so that I could be likable to y'all. And when I think about that, when I say that out loud, oh my gosh. And if I could go back and hug my younger self, I would hug her so tight, because you should have never cared about what other people had to say or what other people thought about you, because regardless of the fact, you're beautiful. You're so beautiful. You are so beautiful. You're still beautiful to this day. To this day, you're gorgeous. And so I would do these things. And then one day my mom, she said, let me see your face. Look at me. And she saw what I was doing. And she said, why are you doing this to yourself? Why would you do this? And I don't know what I said, but she was just like, you cannot do this. This is not okay. You know, if you don't like it, I showed you, you can wear makeup. You can cover it up, but don't hurt yourself, Ari. But I didn't even want to wear the makeup. I just wanted to be normal. I felt like I wasn't normal. And I've always felt that for a long time. So I always did things to fit in, blend in, and lower my light so that I could be, quote, normal. But now I want to be okay with being unique, because that's all I am, just like the rest of you guys. We are all unique, no matter what our flaws are. We are all unique individuals. And even though I said I wasn't going to get too much into it, one of the comments I got on my reel, it said, oh, it's all right, you Dalmatian. And I know Winnie Harlow, I know when she got into a beef with someone, they called her a Dalmatian. And of course, that's kind of like a derogatory term or word, right? And I was thinking about it, a Dalmatian, that's a dog. And when you think about dogs, people love dogs. No matter what color they are, no matter how many spots they could have 3 colors, 4 colors, 5 colors, 2 different eye colors, all types of stuff. And people will love the dogs for who they are. I just seen, because we talk about trending topics and social issues on this podcast as well. I seen where, and this is kind of off topic, but Black Ink star Caesar, I don't know, whatever his name is, Caesar, he just got booted off the show for literally beating his dog, or a dog, almost to death. And there's video footage of him beating this dog. And basically people were in the comments saying, wow, so a year ago or months ago, he beat his daughter and nothing happened. But when he beats a dog, everyone is in an uproar. And I seen another comment where it said, people love dogs more than they do humans. And I just want to tack that right there and hold on to that. People love dogs or animals more than they do humans. And sometimes I feel like this is true. We show more compassion to animals because we feel like they're healing, and they are, and they're lovable and they're cute. But dogs come in all shapes, sizes, and disabilities. And we are more compassionate sometimes to those animals than we are to each other. And that is a problem. And it's not so much even about having vitiligo or having a skin disease. It's just that I stand out a little bit more so, especially because I have darker skin. So it's kind of just like I have that insecurity. But it is 2022 and we still have racism in America. We still have a lot of social issues. We are still experiencing colorism, a whole bevy of things that are unresolved just because of humans' inability to show love and compassion for other humans. Somebody like, oh, she getting preachy now. But this is my story. And so I've dealt with this skin condition since I was 9. And it's kind of been an on and off thing. It was on when I was in middle school. It kind of came off high school, then came back on. And then maybe like 17 to 19, it was gone. And then I started having kids. And when I started having my children, I would see it come back, but not as significant as it is now. And it's interesting because this is the most I've ever seen the patches on my face. And I'm okay with it. But I realized two things, because I've been tracking this baby. I'm trying to crack the code. And I realized that when we went on quarantine and when the pandemic started and we had to actually wear those masks, that was stressful. Being in the house all day 24/7 because we didn't know what was going on, that was really stressful. And so all of those things, kind of weighed heavy on me and my family. And so coming out of that, that's when it started to get active, or my vitiligo became more active. And so I'm just kind of like going with the flow of things, but I'm realizing you have a lot of stress in your life. Also, being overweight is kind of like one of the biggest stressors. But when I started losing the weight, it still started growing, like it was still growing. So I'm kind of just like, okay, I'm losing weight now, thinking that maybe it'll get better. And it's still getting bigger. And so what that tells me is it has nothing to do, like you can make so many changes, positive, but if you're still stressed out and you're still not having that clarity, that mental clarity, you can still have illness, you can still have issues. And so that's why, like for me, I'm starting to learn more about meditation and mindfulness and having a growth mindset and just relaxing and having calmness in the body, because it's really just me not knowing myself or my worth and stressing myself out about things that are so small. That's starting to affect my body. Because one thing that I learned is that your skin, forget anything else, your skin is the biggest organ on your body, the biggest organ. And so basically, when your skin is the biggest organ on your body, it absorbs everything. It absorbs everything. And so if you're putting chemicals on your body, then you are damaging your body and you are conditioning it to accept things that are not foreign. And I'm trying to see or find out, because I was just watching this on YouTube and I want to give credit to the person who said this. But I said, that's true. And so I grew up and people still, they wear their Bath and Body Works lotion, and we're putting this strong hand sanitizer, on our bodies. And we have to be careful of what we're putting on our skin. And I used to watch all of these videos on, how I treat my acne or how I do this or how I do that. And I would buy so many products with all these chemicals, not realizing that I was damaging my skin even further, to the point I think one time I just broke out in hives. Using so many products at one time, I broke out in hives and I was itching for about 2 weeks. And it was the most miserable time I've ever been through. It was horrific. Having your body itch like that, but I couldn't really see any rashes or anything. I just knew that whatever I was putting in my body was not healthy. It was not beneficial. And so I had to change that. And so one thing that I love putting on my skin is aloe vera plant. And I also use aloe vera plant as edge control. Because it tightens everything up. I just love how it feels. But I'm trying my best to take better care of my skin and exfoliate, not too much, but just clean the face, clean the skin. And it's also relaxing. It's very relaxing. Just taking care of your body is super relaxing. Drinking a lot of water, making sure you're hydrated. All these things are super important. Because beauty is only skin deep, and beauty is also in the eye of the beholder. And so you're either gonna love me or you're not. You're gonna think I'm beautiful or you're not. People are gonna think you're beautiful, or they might be haters and they might not like you at all, but who cares? It's how you treat yourself. It's how you get up. It's how you want to dress. It's how you want to present yourself. And I lacked that for the longest time. I was so worried about what everybody else thought of me that I never got the chance to figure out what I liked about myself. What do I like doing? How do I like dressing? How do I like styling myself? What's my look? And now I'm starting to figure that out. And it's beautiful. There's no age limit to figuring out style, because style's always changing. Style's always adapting. So I've always liked a bohemian look, kind of like a hippie thing. If I put out where I'm from Oakland, but I'm really from North Oakland, and people want to say, oh, you from Berkeley. And I'm like, no, I'm from North Oakland, but I was peeping the Berkeley hippies, okay? And I liked how they looked. No lie, I liked how they dressed. I liked their style. And so I'm just trying to be more comfortable in my skin. One of my favorite books is The Skin I'm In by Sharon G. Flake. That is my book. And I feel like, I don't know, but sometimes I feel like in me becoming a teacher and reading again and again Malika's story, she's the main character, and she had a teacher. Her teacher, I forget her teacher's name, but she describes her as ugly because she had a white patch on her face or some type of skin condition. And as an adult now, I'm like, man, that's me. Here I am, so worried about what I'm looking like. And I would literally wear makeup all the time, every single day, to hide my one flaw. And one day I just said, you know what? I'm not doing this. And I showed up to work, no makeup on. And when I tell you those kids love me even more in my natural skin and my natural beauty, that's why I put out that reel. That's why I did that video, because that was so empowering for me to show up and be so afraid and then realize it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you look like. It's how you impact others, and it's what you're doing every single day to make yourself better and potentially the world better. Because I know the reason why I wanted to teach was to help others. You know, if I can't reach every single student, hopefully I'll just reach one. That's why I wanted to become a teacher, to help these high schoolers who are almost adults and they're going to go out into the real world and then realize a few things. And so I had to stop wearing masks. I had to tell someone else, figurative, not literal, but both. I want to stop wearing masks. I want to be healthier. I want to be aware of my body, the changes in my body, what's going on. I want to be aware of what stresses me out, what calms and relaxes me, so that I can show up my true self, my humble self, my confident, beautiful self, and not give no cares about what anybody else has to think, say, feel. Because I love me. Period. That is the affirmation. I love me. When you look in the mirror every morning, tell yourself, I love me. I am beautiful. I am gorgeous. I am strong. You can say whatever you want to say. But if you open it up with affirmations or you close it, you make sure you tell yourself, your beautiful self, I love me. And nobody can take that away from me. Nobody. Because people are hurtful and they're harmful. And they project. Human beings love to project their insecurities onto other people because it makes them feel better. But we're not going for that anymore. We're not doing that anymore. We love ourselves too much to let other people dictate their insecurities or miserable behavior on us. Okay? So I just wanted to be open, be honest, talk about, my skin issue, just because of the reel that I made. And I was just kind of like, hey, like, this has been one of the biggest weights on my shoulder, like one of the biggest things that I carry with me. And now that it's out in the open and now that the world knows, I feel so free. Like, it's freeing. Being able to tell your truths is freeing, because then nobody can say anything. It's kind of just like, if you want to keep up with a narrative of me from the past, that's you. But when you choose to start moving forward and walking in purpose, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what people think about you. It doesn't matter who people remember you as. I am no longer old Ari. I am present Ari, walking into my future. For those of you who don't know, Ari, that's my real name. Okay? But whoever you are not the past. You are your future. You are the present right now. What are you doing right now? Because it's going to lead you into your future. Because whatever you see for your future, that is obtainable. Your goals, they are obtainable. Only thing stopping you is fear. Only thing, literally. If you have a business, you can do it. If you have a business that you want to be successful, you can still do that. If you have 1,000 followers and you want 10,000, you can get that. You can go and get that organically or purchased, because I've seen both. But you can make anything your reality. So I say all that to say, just keep being who you are. Don't let the weight of the world get to you. Don't let your flaws get to you. Don't let your insecurities and anxieties get to you. Stand up tall, put your head up, be confident. If you are already confident, you go girl, you go boy, you do that. You be who you are. You don't change for anybody at all. Because our time on this earth, short, long, whatever, you are the blueprint. There will only be one you, so what are you going to do? I'm going to put that in quotes. And I just want to let you guys know more episodes coming on the way. This is episode 6. I plan to cap out episode 9, and that will be season 1. Right now, I just want to put this out here because I am a big believer in manifestations. And so right now I'm manifesting getting my studio together, getting my office together so that I can start video recording these podcasts. I just like talking. I'm a busy lady, so I just don't have time right now to sit in front of a camera, but I know that we like that face-to-face, eye-to-eye connection. It's necessary. That's how I watch most of the videos, and inspirational, motivational videos. I watch them on Instagram or YouTube, and I like seeing the people's face. You feel connected. And so I'm working on that. I am working on that for season 2 to have some video recordings of the podcast and to keep going and to not quitting and not giving up on my baby. Because I believe in me just as much as I believe in you. Okay, Rosebuds? So just stay tuned. I appreciate those who continuously listen. I love y'all. I thank y'all for y'all support. And I always love when you guys give me feedback. Feedback is so helpful. Even if you don't, I'm always trying to take notes and figure out what I could do, to expand, be better, give more information, and just help. Because while we're existing and breathing, we should be making strides to help others and communicate with others and just leave our carbon copy on this earth so that we can at least come to some type of normalcy, because the world is crazy right now. And it's been crazy. It's just an evolved crazy. But in that evolution, we are the resolution. Okay? So just remember, always remember, keep remembering, when life gives you thorns, you search for roses. Peace.